Single car qualifying is back in all three NASCAR Touring Series. So, Mr. Mayor, before we get your opinion, Nate, we want to turn to you and explain kind of what's going on, because fans hear single car qualifying. It's not quite that simple. Kind of explain what's going to happen.
So they're essentially, Marty, going back to where they were about 6 years ago. Tracks that are 1.25 miles in length and shorter, those now will consist of 2 qualifying laps. That's how they'll do it. At tracks that are longer than a mile and a quarter, qualifying will be 1 timed lap. The group qualifying format will remain in place for road courses. And then the other really important part, I think, of the single car qualifying process now is that if you qualify in the top 21 race, the next race you will draw to go out in the back half of qualifying. Typically, you want to go out later because later means faster, and NASCAR wants the faster cars to be at the back end because they want the pole to build some drama and have that faster car be toward the end of the qualifying session. So
there's how it works. Jeff, are you a fan of going back to single car qualifying?
You know, I like multi-car qualifying. I thought it was fun. I thought it was energetic. But with all the madness we've seen this year, it was time to do something. NASCAR had to fix this. This rule package put them in a situation where they just couldn't continue anymore. And then, well, why not do multi-car qualifying at some tracks and single-car qualifying at others? And that was my initial thought. But the more I think about that, you know, one of the things I hear from fans is that it's too complicated. Like, things are too complicated. So why have 2 different formats where we have to explain, well, this week we're doing this, last week we did that. We don't have to do that anymore. So I think that if you're going to do it, just go all in, go single-car qualifying, be done with it. It's the same every week. I think that's the right thing to do. And listen, what's qualifying there for? It's there to determine the starting position of the race. And with, why make it complicated? Make it simple. And I will say this, with them sending the car as soon as the guy takes the white flag, it goes way quicker than it used to go. It used to be monotonous, monotonous. But if you look at what the Truck Series does, it happens quickly. And it's going to be a better single-car qualifying than it was 6 years ago.
And they're talking these sessions only lasting 40 minutes, so it will go quick. And every crew chief I talked to today loves the idea. They're glad it's back because they told me, hey, listen, we finally get to see the fastest car is going to start on the pole. Pretty simple.
First guy that complains because he got a bad draw, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any complaining about you getting a bad draw, because that is part of single-car qualifying. Somebody's going to get the draw that's no good. That's just what's going to happen. I think they've minimized it, right? With the rule that you just explained, but somebody's going to get the bad draw. That's just how it's always been.
It's still going to be one of the 20 fastest cars from the week before who are going in the second half. So I think, they've minimized that potential of whining. But drivers will still complain.
There still will be complaining. Hey, you know who always draws #1 here on Motor Mouse? Carl from Akron. And Carl, keeping his streak alive. I think we're on show 12. Carl, you've been on the pole for every show. We want to hear from you guys today. But, Carl, we want to hear from you first. What are your thoughts about single-car qualifying?
Why did they ever change it? To be honest, I agree, Mayor. It's good to have the mayor on. I agree. The fastest car should be. That's how we set the field. But my question to you guys would be, isn't that also great for sponsorship, which we need for this sport? And now with single-car qualifying, that helps the sponsors if they get their car on the pole, and help certain drivers that we want to keep sponsorship in our sport.
Well, Carl, I think the thing for me is that when you talk about sponsorship and sponsorship exposure, what's going to happen now is every car is going to be on TV. Because one of the things that is going to happen, there's going to be designated TV breaks. So in the past, a car used to go and wouldn't show them, and we'd be under caution. Now there's going to be breaks that allows everybody to be shown on TV, and I think that's a good thing. I can tell you, because I always qualified bad, Carl, that there was, I'm going to say probably 25% when I came to qualify, they just wouldn't show me. And it got to the point where the sponsors were like, hey, they don't show you, and it became an issue. It really did. So that eliminates some of that.
Yeah. Right. And to answer Carl's original question, why did they change it? I think if you go back to 2014, when that decision was made, it was a different time in NASCAR. At that time, they were looking for ways to enhance the drama of the qualifying session because of, you had top 35 rule, you had many more teams that were attempting to make races. Things have changed over the last 5 or 6 years since 2014, where you have the charter system, you have guaranteed entries. Things are just different now, and I think NASCAR probably feels as if it got a little bit too far afield with what qualifying is supposed to be about. It's procedural. I mean, the real entertainment is on Sundays. Yes, Group qualifying had its moments where it can be entertaining, but I think single car qualifying also can be entertaining. And to Jeff's point, Carl's point, you get to tell the stories that don't always get to be told for these teams, drivers, and sponsors.
Hey, Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.